The Senate is scheduled to vote today on a bill to counter the recent spike in hate incidents against Asian Americans, an issue that many Asian American parents are now discussing with their own children. Elaine Quijano spoke to two parents who were having those conversations, Democratic Congressman Andy Kim of New Jersey and Jane Park, a Seattle mother, whose video of her family's discussion went viral. Elaine, good morning to you. What did they tell you?
Good morning to you, Gail. Well, these parents tell me that they have talked to their children about race before, especially after taking them to Black Lives Matter protests. But the conversations haven't really focused on anti-Asian hate until now. As a father to two young boys, U.S. Congressman Andy Kim finds himself reflecting on the first time he was targeted for being Korean American. He was about 6 when a group of older kids mocked his appearance.
Saying things like, how can I see through, these slanty eyes, and, oh, he's Chinese or Japanese, oh, it doesn't matter. It's honestly one of the earliest memories that I can remember at all in my life.
What was the feeling you had then?
I felt like I was invisible. I was just a joke to them.
He never told his parents, but decades later, his son Austin, who's 5, shared his own experience.
He said a bigger kid kept calling him China boy, Chinese boy, over and over again. And my son just kind of laughed it off. It was just like, I kept telling him I'm a New Jersey boy. And it was so sweet that he said that. And I could tell it bothered him.
What did you say in that moment?
I told him that he did the right thing, but at that point I was really floundering, and I really struggled to figure out the right words to say. What should I do in preparing myself to have this conversation with my kid?
Young children now are wondering, am I safe, and is my family safe?
Developmental psychologist Tiffany Yip says parents of all backgrounds should start the conversation early.
I think it's really important for us to think about how we could teach our kids to speak up for their peers. I think if we can empower our children to speak up more for each other, they'll also learn to speak up for themselves better.
Why would we call hate a virus?
Because viruses infect people.
It's an approach Jane Park is using in Seattle with her 2 children.
Racism is that if somebody looks different, they say that they're not as good as the other.
Park's conversation came in the wake of the Georgia shootings that killed 8 people, including 6 women of Asian descent. Her video talking to Bennett about it has been viewed over 2 million times.
And we talked about recent acts of violence against Asian Americans. And how did that make you feel?
Sad, because they killed people.
Mm-hmm.
They killed Asian people.
Yeah.
What was that like for you to have that conversation with your son?
I was saddened because he's so young. It's just the reality that so many AAPI families are facing, is that this is no longer a conversation that we can kind of table for a later time.
But Park wants to prepare her children to respond to all hate, no matter who the target. If you were on the playground and you saw somebody else and they were being bullied just because of how they look, what would you do?
I would say that's not right and you should be better.
Not too bad.
Back in New Jersey, Congressman Kim is going through his own personal reckoning. He's just now learning about years of discrimination his parents endured quietly as immigrants.
The question for us and our generation is, are we going to accept that there's just a certain baseline of foreignness and xenophobia and discrimination that we just have to accept? And I say no. This is a moment where many of us feel empowered to say that this is just not right. Yes, we belong.
Now, psychologists tell us that children are able to understand the concept of race as soon as age 3, and that's why they say it's so important for parents to have these conversations early so that children aren't left to try to make sense of things on their own. Psychologist Tiffany Yip says that one place to start is to talk about how bias makes us feel. And Tony, that can open the door for kids to discuss their own feelings.
Yeah, for a long time, the recommendation was not to talk about it, to be somehow colorblind, but now, talking about it is the best way forward. Elaine, thank you very much. Quite an eye-opening story.
People used to think colorblind is the way to go, but it's not. I don't think so either. I like the word color brave, and I think it's good that they're having discussions with their young children. Andy Kim is right. It is not right. And I loved Jane Park's conversation with her son.
Yeah. Well, you see how much comes out in the conversations and how much these kids feel this.
Yes.
Yeah, they're ready for the conversation.
They are.
As the congressman put it, he had to make himself ready.
Yeah, but Andy's son saying, no, I'm a New Jersey boy.
Yeah.
Right.
And he is.
And he is.
He is.
Absolutely is.